Social media is a global phenomenon that has completely changed the world in so many ways. The evolution of social media has been characterized by bursts of brilliance at different times in its history, while it remained dormant in others. As such, it is difficult to have a complete and detailed history that is correct to every viewer of this video. Thus, the video will focus on perhaps the most notable aspects of the technological revolutions that actually shaped what is known as social media today. This then allows for interaction in case anyone has information that could have been left out. Mukherjee explains that the seeds of social media were planted around 550 BC with the establishment of the postal system in Iran, where mail was carried by horse-drawn wagons. The government largely used communication by mail to disseminate information to its citizens, a phenomenon that marked transitioning from the smoke signals and beacon fires used in ancient Egypt, Greece, and China. The 18th and 19th centuries witnessed great inventions, such as the telegraph in 1792, the telephone in 1890, and the radio in 1891, that revolutionized sending messages over long distances. The invention of letter transportation and the telegram was inspired by increased interaction between businesses and other entities in growing cities. The growth of the Internet in the 20th century really set the stage for social media-related innovations. This diagram is a presentation of the history of social media from its ancient history of traditional communication, to the beginnings of the 18th and 19th centuries, to the Internet era of the 20th century, and the era of social network sites of the 21st century. The phreaking era dates back to between the 1950s and the 1990s, which witnessed the earliest telecommunication systems that were manipulated to form what is known as social media today. Tapriel and Conwar note that the term phreaking is used to describe a culture of people who largely explored telecommunication systems, which would then be the modern equivalent of computer hacking. A story that began with a blind boy who cracked a network security code by whistling into a phone would turn into a practice of creating phreaking tools in the form of blue boxes from radio operators. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak would find the creators of the blue boxes who shared the knowledge of what would become iPhone today. The boxes would not only make calls, but also enable users to access the back end of telephone systems. Tapriel and Conwar observed that the first podcasts and blogs were generated from compromised corporate voicemail systems called code lines. Bulletin board systems, developed by Ward Christensen, were popular between 1979 and 1995. The systems were basically single-user servers connected to computer systems and a modem. Users included software management and the exchange of electronic mail. The social aspect of the systems was characterized by message boards, community-generated files, and online gaming. Tapriel and Conwar explained that Usenet by Jim Ellis and Tom Truscott was the most popular discussion system that had a decentralized server that formed a distributed network and allowed the exchange of messages through newsgroups. Commercial online services, such as The Source and CompuServe, established in 1979 included bulletin boards, messaging services, forums, special interest groups, and news. All these services were accessible through subscription where registered users dialed using a model through a private computer network. Prodogi Communications Corporation revolutionized consumer online services from the command line interface used by CompuServe to a graphical user interface that provided similar services, but at a reduced cost. Tapriel and Conwar observed that the height of commercial online services was achieved by America Online, launched in 1983 and was popularized by its online software suite that provided access to the largest online community and Internet access. The Internet existed in the 60s but became public, through the World Wide Web, in August 1991. Despite the Internet being public, it was only accessed by the elite in the society, who were defined by connections to institutions of higher learning, the government, or the military. All this changed with the emergence of private Internet service providers who ensured that everyone who had a computer accessed the Internet. Technological advancements from using telephones to chatting using electronic messaging informed the demand for real-time news from the source by Internet users. In 1983, Jaakko Oikkarinen created Internet relay charts that provided the first use of @signs and hashtags that is at the core of the popular microblogging site, Twitter. The desktop-based instant messaging service ICQ, which was an instant messaging system developed by Israeli technologists in 1996, utilized the Internet Relay Chat, or simply IRC, concept and was bought by America Online and popularized as instant messaging. The instant messaging technology was later incorporated into popular electronic mail services such as Yahoo, MSN, Hotmail, and Gmail. The concept of digital sharing in the late 90s allowed media sharing over various platforms such as Instant Messenger. Peer-to-peer internet services facilitated file sharing, with the most popular service being Napster in 1999 that allowed sharing music files, both downloading and uploading. Napster heightened the distribution of music until the service faced copyright issues from recording companies. Napster was later replaced by LimeWire and BitTorrent that provided a legal and centralized way to sharing files. The Pirate Bay later became the online destination for all media content. Consistent use of the Internet led to the determination of usage patterns that revolved around connecting with friends and sharing user-generated content. Initial social network sites like Classmates.com focused on keeping former schoolmates in touch through activities such as virtual reunions. Users did not create profiles even though they were able to reconnect with their friends. Classmates.com allowed students to surf the network, but creating profiles and listing friends came later on. 6degrees.com is regarded as the earliest social network site based on the modern definition of social media, including all the related components. The site, which was launched in 1997, allowed creating profiles, searching friends, and surfing. The whole idea behind the site was the assumption that no one was separated from another person by more than 6 degrees. Other sites such as ICQ Buddy and AIM supported the creating of networks of digital friendships, but limited the visibility. Creating profiles was not introduced with 6degrees.com, but was common in earlier dating and community sites. 6degree.com advertised itself as a communication tool that would help people connect, especially through messages, even though it was closed in 2000. The founder of the site, Andrew Weinreich, believes that the social network site closed because it was ahead of its time, so people failed to understand its connectivity objective. There was increased use of the internet at the time, but users did not have networks of people who were interested in connecting online. Users were not as interested in meeting strangers, and as such, there wasn't much to do once people connected. A number of community social network sites emerged at the turn of the century and leveraged the functionalities created by 6degrees.com. Boyd and Ellison note that Asian Avenue, Black Planet, and Mehente enabled the creation of various types of profiles, including dating and professional, as well as following friends, which does not require their permission. LiveJournals also adopted the same unidirectional approach to following people of making friends. SeaWorld was established in Korea in 1999, but added the relevant social media functionalities later on in 2001. Lunarstorm, which was natively Swedish, reinvented itself as a social site in 2000, and contained diaries, guest books, and friends lists. Boyd and Ellison note that most of the sites that emerged around 2000 utilized available business networks. Particularly, Rise was comprised of members of the San Francisco business community, who were investors, entrepreneurs, and technologists. Sites that emerged at around the same time Rise did include LinkedIn, Friendster, and Try.net. Of all these sites, LinkedIn stood the test of time and came to be known as the social network site for professional networking or connectivity. Social bookmarking dates back to 1996 with sites such as ItList, Backflip, Blink, Clape2, Clickmarks, and Holinks. The sites allowed organization of bookmarks into folders that facilitated management. Delicious, which was launched in 2003, coined the term tagging, synonymously used with social bookmarking. Other similar sites such as Reddit and Digg came up, and they all use tags to organize their bookmarks. Web feeds list bookmarks for better interaction among users in social bookmarking sites. Tapriel and Conwar posit that blogs, short form for weblogs, were popularized around 1994 to 1999 to chronologically record events. Blogs started out containing statistic information, but have evolved over time by primarily improving the levels of interaction. Justin Hall, who launched Justin's homepage in 1994, is often referred to as the first blogger in the world, even though digital communities existed before. John Barger first used the term weblog in 1997, with Peter Merholtz playing with it to coin Weblog, where the term blog stuck. Friendster was launched in March 2003 to complement Rise and rival Match.com, which was exclusively a dating site. The concept behind Friendster was similar to that of 6degrees.com, which was a circle of friends and the site provided the connection. Friendster focused on creating friendship networks as opposed to helping strangers meet, which was the primary idea on Match.com. These friendship networks were also driven by romance based on the assumptions that people with mutual friends are more likely to spark relationships compared to total strangers. According to Boyd and Ellison, Friendster's popularity as a social networking site is widely credited to gay men, those who attended the Burning Man's Arts Festival, bloggers, and word of mouth. Friendster's team did not project the site's exponential growth, and as such, social and technical difficulties including server issues and database malfunctions, adversely affected its functionality. The site's cultural balance was socially affected by new users learning about the malfunctions from existing users and the media in general. The cultural collapse was further worsened by users having to face former classmates or their bosses, as well as user restrictions from the site. Friendster restricted profile viewership based on proximity. Users added strangers of interest to them. Some users collected many friends through the available most popular feature, and eventually the site discovered that some profiles were fake. The rise of fake profiles led to the elimination of the most popular feature. Elimination of the fake profiles led to deleting genuine accounts, which contributed to the site's downfall. Today, Friendster is largely an online gaming site that targets teenagers and adults. Social network sites that followed utilized profile-oriented features and target niche demographics. Different sites assumed varied purposes, as documented by Boyd and Ellison, and I quote, "While socially organized SNSs solicit broad audiences, professional sites such as LinkedIn, Visible Path, and Zing focus on business people. Passion-centric SNSs like Dorkster help strangers connect based on shared interests. Care2 helps activists meet. Couchsurfing connects travelers to people with couches, and My Church joins Christian churches and their members." The differences in target audiences was followed by variations in the media that informed the primary mode of communication. For instance, Flickr is a photo-based site, Last.fm is a music-based website, and YouTube focuses on video sharing. Most of the sites that did well were developed in Silicon Valley, with those from outside, including Orkut by Google, failing to achieve the popularity registered by the competitors. Microsoft's MSN Spaces was popular everywhere else but in the United States. MySpace was launched in 2003 to compete with Friendster and other sites, including Asian Avenue and Xanga. The developers of MySpace targeted frustrated Friendster users, especially those who were not happy with the introduction of the fee-based system. Thus, MySpace's popularity was founded on serving users who defected from Friendster. Indie rock bands from Los Angeles were ejected from Friendster due to non-compliance with profile requirements and led the charge to joining MySpace. Promoters used MySpace to advertise the band's activities, which increased the site's popularity. Bands and fans propelled MySpace's popularity since both parties wanted contact with each other. Further MySpace growth was fueled by user-oriented feature additions and profile or page personalization, including differentiated layouts and backgrounds through the addition of simple lines of code by copy-pasting. Teenagers started joining MySpace to connect with artists, and the site did not restrict minors from joining but added user policies to protect minors. The site was segmented into artists, teenagers, and the urban social crowd, but MySpace did not gain meaningful media attention until it was purchased by News Corporation in 2005 for a reported $580 million. At the heart of MySpace's failure was safety issues, especially sexual interaction between minors and adults, which led to morality-based panic over sexual predators, even though some research revealed that the panic was blown out of proportion. Boyd and Ellison document some sites that were popular outside the United States, including Orkut in Brazil and India, Mixi in Japan, Lunarstorm in Sweden, Hives in Netherlands, Grono in Poland, High5 in Latin America, and Bebo in Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. Chinese QQ addition of friend visibility and profiles to the instant messaging feature made it the largest social network site. SeaWorld's introduction of buddies and homepages increased its dominance in the Korean market. Blogging sites that included social networking features include Vox, LiveJournal, and Xanga in the US, Skyrock in France, and Windows Live Spaces across various regions in the world. Sites popularized outside the United States do not receive that much media coverage, thus, tracking their growth or failure always becomes difficult. Facebook was among the earliest niche networks that was established in 2004 to address the social networking needs of college students attending Harvard. Joining Facebook at the time of its establishment required users' emails to be registered in the harvard.edu domain. The site grew beyond Harvard to other universities, but users were still required to have a university email to register to maintain the integrity of the site as a private community. Expansion in 2005 allowed high school students, corporates, and eventually everyone to join the site. Opening up the site still restricted access or viewership of specific networks, such as corporate and university networks. Facebook allows outside developers, through the Applications feature, to increase the platform's functionality by personalizing profiles and attending to tasks such as editing traveling histories. Opening Facebook to the general public was accompanied by the addition of functionalities, including joining communities, exchanging messages, and inviting friends. Facebook, through the business and fan pages, provided a new approach to connecting with masses, especially for influencers, artists, and businesses. Facebook's collaboration with mobile phone companies increased the platform's reach through mobile devices that are more accessible compared to computers. Apart from Orkut, Google has tried launching other social sites, including Google Wave, Buzz, and Talk, but none of them have really been successful. Google recently launched Google Plus in 2011 to rival social network site giants such as Facebook. The platform contains Facebook-like features, including the like button, collaborating with friends, exchanging messages, sharing media, and inviting friends. Additional features provided on the Google Plus platform include circles of followers, acquaintances, and direct connection with other products such as YouTube, Blogger, and Google Drive. The evolution of Google Plus has reached to opening business pages and enjoys over 20 million users. Technological evolutions have witnessed the shift from static pages to real-time information updates concerning what is happening around the world. The microblogging site Twitter, also referred to as the short messaging service of the Internet, created by Jack Dorsey in 2006, allows the sharing of short messages, also called tweets, in referring to blocks of text exchanged between users. Boyd and Ellison note that some sites, such as Beautiful People and A Small World, restrict their access to maintain the image of sophistication. Other smaller sites limited in size by their target demographics include MyChurch that is affiliation-oriented, Black Planet that is identity-driven, and Couchsurfing that is focused on users' activities. Ning is a hosting platform that allows users to create their own niche social networks.